Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Power Rangers Lost Galaxy episode Enter the Lost Galaxy. This is a really good episode. It's not like climatic epic or nothing like that, but a lot of cool stuff happens in this episode, especially the ending, which I did not see coming at all. Like the way that the ending was set up was just truly like mind-blowing, and I love that. I miss when Power Rangers was this like thrilling and stuff. When they could world build, when they can give you such suspense that you kind of like, holy crap, did that just happen? And yes, it did. And I just don't get that same feeling all the time with all these newer seasons, especially like the Nickelodeon seasons and a couple of like the Disney ones and stuff. Mainly because one, the internet kind of ruins everything, and that's one main problem. Also, like, um, another problem is like because like there's so many well, still the internet with so many fans are like know the Sentai very well, and now like the creators basically just take everything from the Sentai, and so it's kind of like they know what to expect. They tell fans, or you can just like look it up on like wiki fandom or something like that, so it kind of like takes away from it. But back in the good old days in like the 90s, it wasn't like that. The internet wasn't the way it is now. I don't even know if there was a YouTube back then or not. You know what I'm saying? And so like everything was just so much more like special. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been saying that a lot when it comes to TV shows nowadays or like movies and stuff. The internet ruins everything. And it's like because you always have that one scooper who like leaks information. And like because like there's a new Halloween movie coming out. Now, I've never seen none of the Halloween movies. I wasn't like a slasher horror movie fan back in the 80s because I was just a kid growing up and stuff. I didn't become a fan of the genre until Scream came out. And so it's like um so I wasn't like into that stuff. And so like with the new movie coming out, like I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. But then as soon as the trailer came out, here came all these spoilers talking about, oh, this is a fake sequence, or that's not really Michael, and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, dude, the internet ruins everything. The Walking Dead, especially, man, like you will literally have to like stay off the internet for the rest of your life if you never want to be spoiled about like The Walking Dead and stuff. Because you always have people who know the comics, so they spoil things like years in advance. And then, like once the episode drop, if you don't watch it right then and there, you're gonna have it spoiled. Even the own Twitter page of The Walking Dead spoils the crap out of their own show. Like, I hate that. But back to Power Rangers. So yeah, I really like this episode. Plus, it's a Kai episode, and I haven't like gave him no solo like review. Mainly because Kai was always kind of like a butthead in the show, especially in the beginning. But he mellowed down like a little bit afterwards, a little bit. But like this in this episode, he's like really cool and he does a lot, and it's a really good Kai type episode. I know he has other solo episodes, but I really didn't want to get like into those and stuff. But like and also DBI has a very cool role in this thing. And DBI is one of my favorite generals, man. Just the voice, the look, like everything. And when he Ubered up, it's like, whoa, man. And so with this episode, a group of scientists are studying the Galaxy book, right? Because they still have possession of it, and every like villain keeps trying to steal it. And so these group of scientists, it's not Kendricks because she's no longer there. I bet if she was there, she would have been the one who'd have cracked this code. So since she's not there, it's mostly now up to random, um, background characters and guest appearances to do the science stuff. And Kai is now all of a sudden like a science expert, and he kind of like takes over, which is weird because he has like more of a navigational command role in the command center type place of like um Terra Venture and stuff. And so like he takes on more of the scientific role now since she's gone. And so the group of scientists, they're reading from the galaxy, but they're finally able to decipher a lot of the alien language and stuff. And as one of them is starting to read it, because it's kind of hard because they're not that great at reading it. So they start saying a few phrases and the book starts to rumble and everything. And it's just like, what the world's going on? So like the dude in charge, the captain, he's all like, lock that book down and nobody is to read from it no more until we figure out, because it's a little too dangerous and figure out like what's going on. So he tells Mike that, and that's really all we really see of like Mike in this episode. So it's nice to see him again because he's kind of been disappearing in civilian form in a while. He mostly just does like the voiceover for the Man and Defender. And so it was cool to see him again. But sadly, he does not show up as the Man and Defender in this episode. And so at some point in time, an alien visitor visits the station and he has like the markings on his forehead of that of the Galaxy book and a couple of other alien markings on the side of his face. And he's a very powerful being and a mysterious one at that. And he changes his appearance to look human. So he tries to steal the Galaxy book, but he gets caught. And one of the people he gets caught by is Kai. And he just gives up without a fight. And so when Kai puts him in his holding cell and all this, he wants to talk to Kai. And he tells him, it's you. You're the one destined for this. And Kai is kind of just like, what the world are you talking about? And he's like, you're a Power Ranger and everything. He says this while Gar is on the outside the door. So Kai has to like close the door. How did they not hear that? Like, seriously. I would have been like, what he say? So he tells Kai and everything. He has the ability to see the past, the present, and the future. And it's Kai's destiny to like, I don't know, do something with the Galaxy book and everything. Which later comes, in later episodes and stuff. And he tells Kai, you have to like steal the book for me and everything. And then so it turns out at some point the alien starts to die. He tells him that he can't survive in their like atmosphere, which I'm guessing is the oxygen based atmosphere. And the dude even bleeds. He bleeds blue blood on his face. Like, this is pretty edgy for Power Ranger Kids show, you know what I'm saying? The dude is literally bleeding from his pores in his face, but it's blue. So, but still, I love when I hate when alien blood's red. So thank God they turned into a different color, because it's so much cooler when it's a different color. And so Kai go back to the Rangers and he tells them everything that's been going on, but they don't believe him. And I love how Maya is the one to tell him, it's probably like a trick from like Trakina. Like, you can't trust this guy and everything, And Kai, for whatever reason, wants to trust this guy. So he goes back and he sneaks the guy out, right? And so, yeah, he literally just breaks the dude out of prison and like tells him to meet him in like the Mountain Dome and everything. Then Kai goes back and he steals like the Galaxy book. And I love the visuals in this. Like, he's literally riding through like the corridor and everything on his motorcycle. And it's a great visual. Mr. Knight, Satira No. It's sad y'all had to come to an end in the first season, but I swear to God, y'all sacrifice, benefited this show greatly, because when that show got canceled, they got the money budget to put on better VFX for Lost Galaxy and everything. Now, at some point in time, the alien gave him a set of like 5 crystals, clear crystals, and he tells them like Kai and everything, these will help you when you're in need and everything. So Kai is with like the alien and he has the book, but here comes Deviant of all people, and he wants the book. Alien dude muscles up and whoops Deviant's behind. It turns out the alien is the keeper of the book, and he told Kai that like nobody is supposed to research this book or anything like that. We don't know the true significance of the book and why it was created. I know it tells the story of the Galacta Beast and stuff like that, but we really don't know. And we also, it has like the Savage Sword and its location and what it does. So basically, it's almost kind of like an encyclopedia of sorts of all this like powerful magic and energy and all kind of stuff and dangerous stuff as well. And so that's why they don't want nobody to. It's kind of like an archive, if you will. And that's why they don't want nobody to, like, get their hands on it and stuff. But if it's an archive and everything, then isn't people supposed to read archives? I don't know. They never really went into the significance of that, but oh well, you can just always use your imagination. You know what I'm saying? But of course, because the dude can't survive in, like, that atmosphere, he gets, like, defeated and everything. And it's a sad moment. Like, he is literally defeated and he just disappears in sparkly dust. Like, he is now dead and everything. And so the Rangers show up, they help Kai because Kai's getting his butt kicked. And so, like, DBI, he finally gets his hands on the book. And one of the coolest moments happens. He reads from the book the same passage, coincidental enough, that the scientist read from. And and I love the chant, the phrase that he says. It's amazing. That's one cool thing about this show. When they get to that alien chanting stuff or mystic stuff, it's awesome. I remember in Mystic Force, Korag, when he would call on his Zor, it was the coolest phrase ever, man. And the dude's voice just really helped it. And that's what happens here. Rest in peace, the dude who played DBI. And so, like, he calls on the book, and the book's just like levitating in the air, and all this like lightning and stuff is coming from the book. And so, us as viewers, we don't know what the world's going on and everything, you know what I'm saying? And so, but DVI, he levels up. He turns into this gross, slimy, monstrous of a beast and everything. See, DBI is a cybernetic robotic alien. And when he possessed the powers of the book, he turned into an organic monster of a beast. It's nasty, it's slimy, it's disgusting. And now we get into the Sentai footage, because everything else has been American. He whoops on the Rangers big time. They cannot stop this uber form of DVI. And so Kai tells them, the alien dude, the keeper, gave me like these crystals and said we're supposed to use them when they're in need. Well, when we're in need. So it's like, cool, what are these crystals gonna do and everything? And also, why hasn't Leo called on his battleizer yet? Like, that's what something I've always wondering. He has it, is in his disposal, but he doesn't use it that much. And this was before Red Ranger started being dependent on it. When the Disney era came, they really started being dependent on that thing. And so, like, they throw their crystals on the ground, and all of a sudden, their Quasar launchers like turn into a different form. They're much better now. They look so much cooler and stuff because they tried to stop DVR with the lights of Orion, and that did not help. And if the lights can't take a person down, then he's leveled up. And so I love this version of the Quasar launcher so much better than the other ones, because the other ones more like they was launchers, but they also turned into like staffs and everything. And they were very basic, looking like tubes. But this one has a very like royal like looking look to it. Now I could have sworn I've seen these before this episode happened, but probably not. And so they use their new weapons, but this is what happens. DVI doesn't blow up. He just turns into like a giant. So it's like, if these things supposed to be so powerful, why didn't it stop DVI and everything? So it kind of defeats the purpose. So they call on the Zords, and so this is not enough to stop him either. And next thing you know, Stratoforce and Centaurus, they come to help out without being called, because they can sense something's going on. Now, how exactly were they able to get there? I don't know. I guess they live in Terra Venture somewhere, hide out, but technically they should never have shown up, and there's a reason for that. And so, like, um, so What's really interesting is that Kai, the Blue Ranger, is the one calling the shots in the Zord, which is very rare because it's normally the Red Ranger. Normally, if it's a solo episode, they will call on Centaurus or this and that, but it's normally Leo who gets the final blow, but this time they let Kai do it. So DVI is finally taken down, but he's not destroyed, he's just like depowered now. And then it happens. The big reveal. So they go and try to grab the book, but the energy is still coming off the book and it demorphs them. So then when Kai finally picks up the book, there's singe marks all around the ground from where the book is at. Something happened. But what the world happened? Well, what happened is the title of this episode. And so, like, they look up and everything's turning dark. And it's like, why is everything turning dark? This is probably how Centaurus and the other dude came to be. And so they go out into like the tunnel corridor area. And I love that visual. They're running, and they stop. And they can't believe what they see. I couldn't believe what I saw. Space looked completely different. It was no longer just like black space with like stars. It was now an entire like nebula and everything. They entered the Lost Galaxy, which is like a domain within space, like a pocket dimension. Well, not really so much a pocket dimension, my bad. Maybe it is a pocket dimension. Yeah, I'll say it's a pocket dimension. So it's like a pocket dimension of like another world and everything, another universe. And they've entered like a completely different universe and everything. And it's very colorful, very bright. And thank God they had the budget to do that. Because like normally in space sci-fi shows and movies you see, it's always the same. It's always black space and stars. And that's because it's cheaper to do that. But in real life outer space, there is so much more than just that. And especially when you leave our own like solar system, it's like a buffet of like colors and all kind of spatial stuff, you know? Thank God for those NASA like cameras and telescopes and all this other crap and drones they have, because we get to see some really cool stuff in real life. And so, yes, when Deviant read from the book, he opened a pocket dimension that went into the Lost Galaxy and everything. And the Rangers can't believe where they are. Now, technically, they own Terra Venture, so they wanted to go and find a new world. Well, technically, they did that, but the world they find is not great, because now we get our third, like, alien boss of, like, the series. And this dude, like, he is just as bad as the rest. He has a comedical kind of voice, but he's terrible because, like, when you find out what his prisoners are, you will be like shocked. Like, I couldn't believe it. They brought slaves into the Power Rangers universe. Like, there's a bunch of different aliens that are slaves to that of Captain Mutiny and everything. And I remember when they was in the Lost Galaxy, I remember like, man, I wish they would spend like more and more time there. But of course, the season has to wrap up soon. And so now this explains why the television series is called Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. I've always wondered that because they're not called the Lost Galaxy Rangers. They're just called the Galaxy Rangers. And I always wonder why they put the word lost in there. And then this explains it and everything now. Because at some point they was going to enter the Lost Galaxy. And I love that world building. And this is a kid's show and they're doing this much world building, you know. And, you know, it's great writing. This is why Power Rangers need to be respected, man. It's not just a kid show. When they got into, like, say, Lost Galaxy, everything started to change. The humor was pretty much non-existent in everything. I thought at first it would be because Bulk and the Professor showed up, but they disappeared after like the second episode and haven't really returned until like maybe like Bulk is probably in 4 episodes at the most and everything. And so like, you know, they really took the humor out of this. Now there is still humor, but it's more brief. Like it's like, you know, you see it, you blink your eyes, and then it's gone. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it is in the Disney or the Nickelodeon era, especially Nickelodeon era. And so, like, this is what I really appreciated about Power Rangers around this time, because the show started to mature and grow up with that of the audience that watched them as kids and teenagers. And it lasted for that way until the Nick on the Disney era and stuff. Now there's still humor, but it's not as much slappy humor as it was before. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.